All right.
Good evening. I'm Coulter Wonkite.
Yeah.
I'm already into the 420. Damn it.
What are you doing? Nothing? Why not? Trying to get on this Lifestyle Radio website. Sounds like a cool website. Yeah, it's alright.
You know,
You're listening to Lifestyle Radio.
The opinions expressed during this show are those of the individual participants and do not necessarily reflect the opinions of their associated organizations or Lifestyle Radio.
For an hour and a half. Yeah, I made it through that. I can make it through anything, yeah. And I thought this before. Yeah.
You know I blame it on industry.
Yeah. That's a good thing.
Hypocrisy. Miseducation and politics.
Oh, you got the okay Spotify?
No one's willing to step up
Oh, good.
and speak.
So, yeah. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Pace Radio Show. We are live. Yes, we are live, and we are here at lifestyleradio.net.
30 seconds remaining.
Oh, whatever that was.
I don't get it.
Good evening. I'm Coulter Wonkite. I'm already into the 420. Damn it.
What are you doing? Nothing? Why not? Trying to get on this Lifestyle Radio website. Sounds like a cool website. Yeah, it's alright. Oh, wait, I might have it. You might have it.
You're listening to Lifestyle Radio.
The opinions expressed during this show are those of the individual participants and do not necessarily reflect the opinions of their associated organizations or Lifestyle Radio.
You know I blame it on industry. I blame it on my own hypocrisy. Miseducation and politicians. No one's willing to step up and speak.
Message sent. Thank you for calling. Goodbye.
goodbye.
Wow.
Okay. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Pace Radio Show. We are live. I haven't got a clue what all has been heard here, but we've been having some problems, but we're getting it straightened out. Tonight, my joint host is Kim Cooper. Yeah, and her guest is a person who helps patients and has been very successful in doing something that people have actually told me that he would fail at, but he hasn't. It has actually grown. But before we find out more, let's take time for Kim and I have a chat. Hello, Kim.
Hi, Al. It's been a comical start to this week's show. I gotta say that for sure. I don't think we've ever had that happen before. Interesting stuff go on in the show, but this one's the first, and oh my God, for a great intro.
Yeah. Yes, they happen. They happen all the time. There's nothing we can do about it. But we should move on to our news.
Yeah, we've got some interesting stuff in the news tonight that's going on out your way.
Yes, correct. In Peterborough, which is like half an hour north of me here, they have put through a bylaw that says vaping and medical cannabis smoking is now prohibited in their public parks.
Yeah, this is a big blow to the medical community and highly illegal, I would think. Medication is mandated by the country. We've got the legal right from a doctor to use our medication. The courts have already said they cannot stop a patient from using their medication. And even the federal laws that are coming out that govern all of the recreational use, medical users are exempt from those laws. And that has been written into the new recreational regime that they're coming out with. So I don't know how this town council can do this.
Well, just as some said, we'll see them in court.
Yeah. I find this horrendous stomping on of a patient's rights. And I hope that I mean, I don't know. I know if I lived there personally, knowing the mindset that I have about these kind of things and how strongly I feel about them, I think I would wind up organizing a patient protest in the park.
Well, you never know. We're going to talk to somebody here in a second just about that. And one thing about this, just so you know, they have a big music fest there every Wednesday and Saturday, free shows. About 10,000 people show up. There won't be allowed any smoking on those grounds, but they're going to allow people to smoke in the parking lot with the car exhaust.
Yeah, that's wonderful of them, isn't it? Go up to where the car exhausts are. It's bad enough they're trying to lump cannabis in with the smokers and putting it the smoking and that's not a place where they want to be. Cannabis doesn't have any noxious carcinogens in it like tobacco does. So non-smokers do not want to inhale that. So, I mean, putting you in a parking lot, that's even worse.
Yeah. Well, I've got Wayne Matheson here. He's from Canada. So we're in the front window here at the store. And he, up until last year, organized the Peterborough 420 and the Peterborough Cannabis Day. And so I just thought I'd get his opinion on what's going on with these laws up there in Peterborough.
Absolutely. Coming from a local like Wayne, I mean, he's the one that's at the front of the scene in Peterborough. So, yeah, great to hear from him for sure.
Okay, here he goes.
Well, I've always understood from way back in the MMAR that smoking cannabis as a medical patient, you were bound to the same rules and bylaws as anybody who smokes cigarettes. And in Peterborough, it's been for many, many, many years, you weren't allowed to smoke tobacco in the parks. There's been signs the last 3 or 6 rallies, the last 3 years, they've had the signs posted at every entrance to the park, no smoking under bylaw, whatever. And so it's always been my understanding that you have to abide by the regular smoking bylaws. And we knew a year ago that they were going to toughen up on bar patios for smoking cigarettes and increase some of the powers. But as far as parks go, I've been under the impression that it's always been like that. And in the event of the rallies, I mean, there was just too many people there for them to bother. And so they kind of just left us alone on those days.
And the police always just came through and just ignored you.
Yeah. I mean, there wasn't a bunch of kids around having smoke blowing in their face.
Person ever showed up.
No,
nobody. I know there were signs that had a cigarette in it and a line through it.
Yeah,
at the entrance of the park. Yeah, exactly.
But as a medical patient, I've always understood it to be that you had to abide by whatever the smoking laws were in your area, and that's how I've always seen it.
Yeah, I always went by the provincial laws, things on that. Okay, well, thanks for your opinion on that, Wayne. Okay.
Interesting. I've had the opposite view. As a patient, I think I would protest my right to consume my medicine wherever I need to consume my medicine, and it shouldn't be restricted. Yeah. And I think the federal government is also taking that stand with the amount of exemptions that they've put in, saying that all of the new recreational use laws do not apply to patients.
Yeah, I can remember there was wherever tobacco was allowed to smoke, you were allowed to smoke, is the way I looked at it.
Yeah. So interesting. It's going to play out in court. I think that not just in Peterborough, but other communities across the nation that choose to take this stand. So I can see it playing out in court, much like so many other facets of legalization.
Yeah. Well, like as we said on the Reef Reporters, we'll have to move to Edmonton, the most liberal city when it comes to consuming cannabis.
That's it, most liberal city in the world, not just Canada.
Yeah. That's right. Correct. You're exactly right. Okay. Well, at this time, I'd like to welcome the person, our guest to the show. He's a person described who helps patients and has been successful where others, as I said, thought he would fail. At this time, I'd like to welcome that person behind the Legacy 420, and that's Tim Barnhart of the Pace Radio Show. Hello, Tim. How are you?
Hey, how you doing, Al?
Good. Yeah, just Kim and Al. Al's,
just the two of you tonight?
Just the two of us. Al's there. He's listening. He's got his mic on mute, though. He's got a baggie in one hand. He's got a shatterizer in the other.
Yeah.
Well, Tim, thanks for coming on to the show. I know you've been very, very busy down there at Legacy 420.
Yeah, absolutely. We have, Al. It's been actually for the last 3 years. It's 3.5 years now. It's been a whirlwind for sure of activity and growth, not only at Legacy but Tyendinaga First Nation period. So it's been, I think, a lot of economic progress myself. So it's been busy and crazy busy. Yeah.
Good. Well, that means we got lots to talk about, and I'm going to hand the reins over to Kim, let her do her intro to you and get the questions fired off, and I will jump in as the night progresses.
Sounds good. Thanks so much, Al. Tim, so glad you could join us again this week. I love having you on the show and touching base with you because, like you said, it is so busy in Tyendinaga. There is so much going on, so much innovation and a push for the Native communities across the country to get on board to this brand new industry. And you guys are putting, your force where your ideas are. It's not just with words, you're actually doing it. And it's fantastic to see. We have to have you on at least twice a year just so we can keep up. So much going on. I mean, Legacy has expanded by leaps and bounds. You went from your smaller shop, then you built the warehouse-size dispensary. An addition went on that. Now, no more additions are going on that again. You're expanding by leaps and bounds. Other industry is also happening as offshoot businesses and other private industry in Tyendinaga. I mean, the area is booming economically thanks to cannabis.
Yes. So it's actually a lot. It's very similar to the city in Prince Edward County and in the rural areas, which are wineries. So it's very similar in nature. People are now picking up maps and actually mapping us out on weed maps and taking Saturday and Sunday and taking a drive down to Tyendinaga. So we don't have a smoking bylaw here on Tyendinaga, and I don't think you'll ever see a smoking bylaw for cannabis or tobacco, period, because both are inherent rights. So and constitutionally protected. At least tobacco is, and I hope to see one day that cannabis is as well. So it's become quite an industry here. Legacy ourselves. We've created a series of businesses. We're now, I think, up to 5 different businesses. So we're now farming it and with substantial plant counts in. So that in the future, very shortly, when this Cannabis Act is passed, that will have a safe and tested product ready for consumers.
Awesome. So, I mean, farm to table, so to speak. You guys have got the farming going on. At Legacy 420, you've got the processing going on. You're making all kinds of wonderful extract materials that you're infusing into lotions and creams and pops and edibles and you name it. And it's happening at Legacy right now.
Right. So we have just for instance, we manufacture 60 different products and I believe 140 different flavors. So everything is being manufactured right on site. There are 2 biochemists and a bio engineer, I do believe. We hired the scientists and the educated people to do this. Fortunately, they're all local. They're one is First Nations, and the other 2 are local from Adelaide College. So they have a dream job. They're in a lab setting where they can hone their skills and catch right up to the licensed producers. So I'm really excited to see that we've been able to maintain. We're up to 52 in our workforce at Legacy alone in the greater area. I'm sure it's over 300 people involved in this industry. So Legacy alone, our yearly payroll is $3.4 million. So that's going right back into the local economy. So
big time.
Right. So last year alone, Legacy spent $9 million on local infrastructure, building and construction, and going back right back into Legacy to grow this so that we are a viable alternative to the licensed producer. So we did everything. Yeah, so we've worked right from the outset. We saw that this industry was going to be taken away, similar to tobacco was. So we built Legacy with that in mind, is to make it so it would withstand a court challenge. We built it as a safe, secure facility with health and safety in mind, just like a licensed producer, but it's native run on a First Nation. So
you built that you built it with the same criteria as what a licensed producer was required to do.
We absolutely did. And we took it a step further. We actually added some additional security protocols in place. So we actually built it safer, and our testing facility is right on site. It's so everything is batch tested. So
I mean, there's no question as to what's in your product. All these questions about, the licensed producers, they've had recalls for using banned pesticides, that kind of thing, incorrect THC counts, incorrect CBD counts, all kinds of errors for recalls from licensed producers. At your place, everything is tested right on site, and you have the results right there.
Right. So you're absolutely correct. So, and that's how we're doing it. So, how we're currently using our purchasing our product is from local growers. So, as has been for a number of years, as in Vancouver, as in Toronto, we utilize existing growers under the AMMAR who've been grandfathered in under the ACMPR, and currently that's going to dry up under the new Cannabis Act. So the push is on to get growing on First Nations. So we're looking for other First Nations to join in, and if they have rural property or they have an area to grow and they want to grow, I think they should give us a call at NIMCA, and we'll set them up with an appointment, come in and talk to us, and we'll get them growing. Because to make this all work the way it should work, and that's grassroots. You have to include everybody. So if we start small, like with the 10 plant co-op system in place on First Nations, and allow that product to be taken to market each fall, I think you'll have success at the grassroots level, and you'd be able to carry that on into obviously bigger licensing and right up to major growth. So very similar to what. Yeah,
it gives other nations, First Nations communities, a chance to get in on a new, brand new industry and a new revenue stream and a new source of work.
It does. It absolutely does. Here's the thing: there's no cost to them, right? So since it's legal for licensed producers to grow outdoor now, so we assume the same premise, right? We've always maintained that this plant belongs to us and that we can grow it as a medicine and use it in our economy. So we're moving ahead with that same idea. We're going to start outdoor grows as well, but do it in an organized and controlled fashion. And we'll just let our product compete with their product, and we'll see what happens in the market.
Tim, as I introduced you, I mentioned about some people thought you would fail. And that was because there was, around here, there was nobody, your name was getting pretty big as far as Legacy. And when we were doing when Canada's had the booth down at the flea market, we had tons of people that were coming to us. And we were sending them down there, and they said, well, how's he getting away with this? And, he was going to get arrested. Be safe when you go down. You should be worried about this and all that. But now you've grown it into you're bigger than a micro producer. You've got everything equal to a licensed producer, and you're also talking with the government. You've been.
Yes, I have. I've been in touch with various levels of government. We did have a meeting about 3 weeks ago with Health Canada. So there again, they're trying to push us and bully us into the licensed producer. It's father knows best mentality. That's never worked in the past. It's not going to work in the future. So we have a way forward, and it's called the National Indigenous Medical Cannabis Association. And we can control and regulate this product ourselves, and we don't need help from the federal government. If they want to help us with the seed to sale program. It's $2 million we need up front to get the seed to sale, implement it. If they want to help us with the cost of that. Help us defray the cost.
Yeah. I want to dive right into NIMCA and everything about NIMCA, but I want to do it after the break because that's a long conversation all by itself. Let's finish off a little bit with Legacy 420 and some of the stuff that you guys are doing there, besides the Music Fest, which we'll get into a little bit later as well. You guys, you're branching out to so many different areas. Are a lot of people coming forward? Are you getting interest from a lot of people to start the grow in other Indigenous communities besides Tyendinaga?
Yeah, great question. And yes, we are. We're being inundated actually with people from all over Canada. So it's all coming to a point where like a precipice where and that is going to end, I think, in the formation and the ratification of NIMCA, hopefully as being the governing body here, to implement a strategy, a native-led strategy around cannabis. There was no consultation, as I said before, so it's just mind-boggling to me. But anyways, I think I got off your question again. Did I?
That's okay. I'm more curious. I guess being a northern girl, that's always where I try and bring my focus back to the north. I know I have been trying to encourage Native communities up here to dive on board. Have anybody from the north communicated with you?
Unfortunately, in the north, it's yes, there has been great interest in the north, but again, there's a lot of resistance from law enforcement and the province in the north. Okay?
Yeah, it's a different country up here, eh?
It is. It's a whole different mentality. I had a store open in Muskoka, probably 4 hours north of here, 2 years ago, and of course it was shut down. So there's one open there now. There's probably a couple, I do believe, and there's one even in town. So it's now normal. So it took me to open a store up there to say, hey, like, let's wake up and get this going. So you are going to get shut down, but I always keep saying you have an inherent right? So do your homework, or come talk to us, give us a call, and we'll fill you in on your rights and what you can do to get a dispensary open in your community. So we need to stay away from recreational. I'll tell you that right off the bat, because what that does is that's going to be governed by the province, right? So recreational sales will be a provincial. So we have to be cognizant and stay away from that field altogether. So you then will have to deal with the province, and then you're stuck paying an excise tax. So I would say any First Nation, just concentrate on what we're doing here, and that's on the medical field.
Yeah, and that's because that's ruled by the feds, not the province.
It is, it absolutely is. So you've got the Allaire decision, and you also have the Owen Smith, right? That can be used in conjunction with Indigenous law. So an inherent right. So you can use. You've got all that at your disposal, and more actually. So
did the police ever show up at the store and try to shut you down?
Yeah, the police was at the store probably 4 or 5 times throughout the year. So I'll be open 4 years this December. And they've been to the store probably a total of 4 times. Each very polite. Each time they were very polite, very cordial, very respectful. And, we always had positive dialogue. They saw the necessity for this medicine. However, it's the way I went about it. I knew I couldn't get their approval to do it, so I did it sneakily and did it my own way. But once I had the doors open and the precedent set of 6 months being open without nobody sick or dying or you know what I mean, I proved my point that I could do this safely. And so the safety, it's safety, security, right? And as long as you're doing those tenets, and you're protecting youth, and you're stamping out organized crime, you are fulfilling the government mandate. And we are on sovereign land. And so if you build it right, it'll withstand any court challenge, Al and Kim. It just will. So, and they're fully aware of that. And the judges have said that in Belleville, and the Crown Attorney's Office have said that as well. So,
you're golden.
Yeah.
prior to Europeans, and that can be proved. And so that opens up a can of worms that they don't want to get in. And quite frankly, I don't want to get into either. I just want our people to be able to do this for a living, right? And be able to compete in this economy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, I think we're almost at break time now, aren't we?
Yeah, we're going to go for break.
Yeah, and then when we come back, I want to dive right into NIMCA and everything that NIMCA is all about and what you guys are doing.
Yeah, and we'll get into the Music Fest as well.
Yeah.
Right. Cool.
All right, Tim, our listeners know that I usually try to match up the songs to our guests. So I was thinking about today's song, and I picked it out, and then I went back to the notes the last time you were here on the program, and it turned out it was the same song. So nothing's changed. All right. So tonight's bumper music is by the Hicks, and their song is "Oh Lord, Won't You Keep Me in the Green." When you return, Kim and I will continue our talk with Tim. This is the Pace Radio Show. We are live here at lifestyleradio.net.
Hey, this is Cheech. And this is Chong. And you're listening to Lifestyle Radio. What is it? Lifestyle Radio. Say it one more time. 420 Radio? Ooh.
Please hang up and try again.
You're listening to Lifestyle Radio.
Well, this one goes out to all the soldiers on the street, dealing dimes, nickels, quarters, crossing borders on their feet, growing God's gracious herbs, healing nations across the land.
Canada, the time to act is now. These days, your customers are seeking variety. Increase your earning potential by expanding your inventory with CC Nexus, Canada's largest cannabis seed wholesaler. CC Nexus stocks over 60 reputable breeders, including Canuck seeds, with a wealth of autoflower, regular, feminized, and CBD strains. All first-time customers will receive a free pack of Canuck seeds, plus a mug, t-shirt, and additional promotional materials. Add strains and increase your profit with CC Nexus, your Canadian-owned and operated wholesaler of cannabis seeds. Discreet, worldwide stealth shipping from Canada, supporting you locally. Call today, 1-844-843-7995, 1-844-843-7995, or visit us at ccnexus.global.
Are you looking for cannabis news, education, and people's opinions? Are you looking to learn what Canadian and international cannabis advocates are doing, not only now, but what got them to this point in their lives, and what does the future hold for them? Do you want to learn how patients are using cannabis as their daily medication, or learn how their cannabis use helps them with their medical condition? If you answered yes to any of these questions, then I'm going to suggest to you to tune in to Lifestyle Radio. Catch their live weekly shows and have your questions and concerns answered and find the experience you're looking for. Monday, catch your weekly news broadcast with the Reef Reporters. Then on Wednesday, get several hours worth of cannabis public education. We get things started with cannabis and coffee with Tamarawana. Then tune in and catch Pottawa with Russell Barth, who calls himself the world's angriest pothead. Finish up your evening with the award-winning Pace Radio Show with Al Graham and joint host Kim Cooper and Alicia Yashishin. No week would be complete without tuning into Friday night's program, the 420 Radio Show, featuring Al Rapp and the 420 Radio crew, Mary Jane Baker and Marcel Gignac. Cannabis is a lifestyle, and you can catch all your cannabis lifestyle information right here at lifestyleradio.net or at our sister site, 420radio.ca.
Celebrate Indigenous Awakening at Legacy 420's first outdoor music fest, August 11th on the tyendinaga-mohawk-territory.
This one's about rock and roll and comic books and bubblegum.
Featuring Headstones, DJ Shove, Derek Miller, and more, with host MC Howie Miller. Opening drum ceremony at 12 noon. Medicinal, food, and Indigenous vendors and artists. Free camping. Tickets $75 at legacy420.com. A 19 and over event. Indigenous Awakening, Saturday, August 11th on tyendinaga-mohawk-territory. Take Highway 401, exit 556.
Sponsored by NIMCA and Legacy 420.
Excel Graham of the Pace Radio Show and the Reefer Reporters. Many of you know me as a cannabis advocate, but while cannabis is a focus, I also fight the stigma against cannabis. What some of you may not know is I'm also involved in naturism. You know, the activity of being naked with like-minded people. What I found is that cannabis and naturism have something in common. Both are stigmatized. This coming August long weekend, August the 4th to the 6th, join me at Freedom Fields Naturist Ranch in Tamworth for an artistic fun weekend and to discuss ways of helping to reduce the stigma issue, an issue that has had many victims for those involved in these activities. If you were able to put a name to it, I call it the Freedom from Stigma Weekend. On Saturday and Sunday there will be tie-dyeing. Please bring your own shirts and body casting. Plus the classic tunes of the Woodstock era will be playing at the watering hole. Freedom Fields is also equipped with a pool table, Jenga, and foosball, which could be turned into a daily or weekend-long tournament. Plus, there is the pool and the hot tub for those looking to get wet. On Saturday, I will be holding a live online radio broadcast on 420 Radio and Lifestyle Radio, where I will be interviewing those willing to speak out about cannabis and naturism, and are willing to share their experiences. So if you're interested in a weekend of sun, fun, and education, please join us at Freedom Fields Naturist Ranch during the weekend of August the 4th to the 6th. For more information, please write me at info@paceonline.ca. That's info@paceonline.ca.
Running naked like the day when I was born.
Man, have you been to Canadays yet? Canadays, Campbellford's premier cannabis culture shop at 19 Bridge Street West. They've got bongs, oil rigs, grinders, and papers. Everything you need for consumption. They've got seeds, soil, nutrients, and dome trays too. Everything you need for cultivation. Get top quality seeds from top suppliers like Canuck and wholesaler Nexus. Canadays. They've got all kinds of awesome cannabis novelties, clothing, and apparel. I know, right? It's a lot more than just a bong shop. Interested in gaining legal access? Canadays can help. They're a PACE information center. You know, people advocating cannabis education. Come by the shop and check it out. 19 Bridge Street West, Campbellford. Canadays. Have your say without saying a word. Canadays.ca.
Now there ain't no reason for this silly drug war. It's just a plan. God showed us what it's for. It says right in the good book that every green plant was made for the good of man. In the green, in the green, in the green, oh Lord, won't you keep me
Hey, we're
in
back.
the green?
Pace Radio Show. We are live at lifestyleradio.net. And if you miss the live shows, you can always catch us afterwards at Mixcloud, iTunes, North America wide. We're on iHeartRadio. I was told today we're on Spotify as well, so you can check us out there. Today on the program, we have our guest, Tim Barnhart of Legacy 420, located in Tyendinaga. Oh, I probably messed that up, Tim. Sorry. Tyendinaga. Oh, again.
Tyendinaga.
Yeah. And, of course, Kim is here with me as well. Tim, you want to say that for me so we get it right?
Tyendinaga.
Tyendinaga. All right. Well, hey, some people say Shannonville, but you're not Shannonville. You're Tyendinaga.
No, actually, Tyendinaga is more appropriate. Shannonville was a colonial name, yeah.
Yeah, okay. All right. Yeah, there we go. Okay, Kim, earlier last segment, we were talking about, what's all going there at Legacy 420, the building, all the testing and stuff that he's doing. Where were we going to go for this segment?
Yeah, now I want to dive into NIMCA. NIMCA is what are the, I don't want to get it wrong, National Indigenous Medical Cannabis Association, is that right?
Yeah.
Okay,
right,
tell us about NIMCA.
So NIMCA is a nonprofit corporation developed by grassroots people from across Canada in an effort to have a governing body to license, regulate, and set the standards for cannabis industry for First Nations people.
Awesome.
Very, very nice.
Yeah.
Awesome. So, I mean, this is the body that's pushing the movement forward to go nationwide and incorporate other, growers and, send everything down to be processed and build this industry on native land.
Mm-hmm. So that's exactly the premise. So obviously each province has their own unique situation. So you have some First Nations that have settlement status. Others don't have any land base. Others have strong land base. So and strong agreements with government. So it's tedious across the country at best, but we are making an effort to launch in every province, and we are all across the West Coast now, from British Columbia right straight to Ontario. We're trying to get out to the East Coast. We're so busy trying to complete our objectives and get our core mandate together so that we can launch this in the provinces that we do have. So we're so busy. We're looking for people from the East Coast. So if there's anybody out there, Indigenous people from the East, get a hold of NIMCA and give us a call or text us. And we'd like to have a representative on the NIMCA board representing the East Coast so that we can have all of Turtle Island all under one umbrella.
Awesome. Amazing stuff. Now, we mentioned a little bit earlier, but we didn't get into it too much. You guys approached some members of Parliament in Ontario, right?
So we've reached out to quite a few politicians in every tent. Most recently, we invited Todd Smith down, a member of, currently now, a member of MVP for Ontario, and he came down and did a tour. I was quite impressed. Prior to being elected, he was already an elected official, but he didn't have any party status. And so now we all know that they're running Ontario. And so he came down to have a look around, and so we did a tour of the store and sat down and had probably a half an hour chat after that. And he was quite impressed with what we achieved down there in such a short time. And actually he was quite, he couldn't understand how the province is going to compete really with what we have built. So, so I hope the lines of communication remain open between us and any political party. So all I say to them is to come on down and check and see what we've done here on Tyendinaga. There's all sorts of law and order here, and it's very orderly and what's being done down here, and state of the art at Legacy, and we hope to have everybody having a tested product that'll be ready for October 17th. So, yeah,
fantastic. So now, who makes up NIMCA? You have a board of directors. Like, how does that work?
So we have board of directors. Currently, I believe there are 12 board members now. So there's a lot of recent members that just joined in the last week or two from the West Coast, from British Columbia. We've got a couple new members, and we've got a new member from Manitoba and one from Saskatchewan. So we're trying to line up 2 representatives in each province because they're pretty big provinces. And there's a lot of First Nations people that are scattered across the rural areas. So we want to include everybody, and we got it prudent to get as many people on this board as we can. So we have approached Health Canada with regard to funding. Some of this educational money that's available, we tried to access some of that to no avail. We haven't heard back from them yet. We hope to set up another meeting with them to see what's going on, because we need to get out to these First Nations and start to avail them and apprise them of all the opportunities as well as any ramifications, negative ramifications that might occur from this plan.
Yes, for sure. You're going to have your work cut out for you. It's an ambitious task, that's for sure.
Yes, it certainly is, but it's one that has to be done. So I don't see a whole lot of other people that are running to the forefront of this. And so and since time is really a factor here, it's either eat or be eaten. And so we have the province breathing down our throat. We have the federal government making shady deals behind our back. And so we're not too trusting of either branch right now. And so we're going to move forward with our own initiatives.
awesome. Love hearing it. It's such a great economical opportunity for First Nations peoples to create their own industry manned by you and being able to steer the ship in the direction that you want it to go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so you're absolutely right, Kim, and the government's answer to their counter proposal to us has been nothing but a corporate answer. Okay, so along with corporation comes taxation, and that's something that we're not willing to deal with. So I think we've proven here on Tyendinaga that in fact you can do this without raising or having a corporation or big huge investors involved. That you can do this grassroots led, and I think that's how it should be done, community by community, First Nations by First Nation, governed and regulated under one roof, and that's NIMCA.
Awesome. Oh, fantastic. I can't believe the amount of stuff that you've achieved, Tim, in such a short period of time. I wish I could take some of that energy and motivation that you have and bottle that shit. I'd be a freaking millionaire.
I don't know where I get it from. You know what? Like you guys, I have an overwhelming love for this plant. It's done a lot for me. And you know what? I see this as a calling, right? So I see this plant going to be stolen away just like all the other plants from us, right? And not just First Nation people, but everybody has the right to this plant. Under Section 7, right?
Yeah.
Under Section 7 of the Charter of Rights and Freedom, we all have the right to use this as a medicinal plant.
That's right.
Right, which supersedes Canadian law. It reigns supreme. Your charter rights reign supreme over Canadian law, and if it doesn't, that's not constitutional, right? So, we're all we should have accessibility to this plant, especially under a large. So, if we have a constitutional right to this plant, then it should be accessible. It should be everywhere. So I say citizens rise up and start planting overgrow, just like Mr. Larson suggested, like Overgrow Canada.
That's it.
Because this legislation is criminal, punitive, and racist, and it should be challenged right away. And if we had people in the AFN that had some balls, they would have stood up a long time ago and said, no, we're not going to put up with this. There are too many criminal sanctions in this. Our people are already number one in being penalized for cannabis arrest.
Yep.
Right? So why would we sign up to a cannabis legislation that's going to criminalize our people for up to 14 years? It's crazy. No one would do that. How could the AFN sign us up to that?
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. Yeah, it doesn't make any sense
at all.
Yeah,
so
everybody knows that the Indigenous people are the ones that are targeted, and I see it quite often in Northern Ontario, especially. We have a very large Indigenous community up here, and the white teenager can be walking down the street or middle-aged person like myself and consuming cannabis won't get hassled. But you put an Indigenous person going down the street consuming cannabis, they'll be arrested. I've seen it happen in the North, and that will continue under the new law.
Actually, it'll be worse, Kevin. And you know why it'll be worse? Because more First Nations are going to assert their inherent right to use this plant as an economic driver. So when they do that, OPP will target them outside their community. Okay, so the new Cannabis Act, they don't need a reason to pull you over. Okay, so all they have to do is look, okay, there goes Joe leaving the dispensary. Let's pull him over and swab them. So it could, this could lead into horrendous arrests for our people. And not only our people, but users in general, people who use this plant for medicinal reasons who don't happen to have a card. Right? Yep. So it's really unfortunate legislation. It's recriminalization 2.0, from what I can see. And I'm not too happy with the law at all, and haven't been since its outset. So First Nations people, we're gonna suffer the brunt of this law once again, and they're trying to take it away. So the fight is on for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. So I guess that answers my next question on how you feel about legalization as a whole with the new law in Canada.
Yeah, so don't get me wrong. I think the whole general move towards lax on all drugs is a good thing. It's a positive move in the right direction rather than criminalizing people for consuming a product. Now, we all have a constitutional right to put whatever we want in our body. Really, if this is challenged, and the courts will lose this, you can put whatever you want in your body. It's our body. It's no different than Morgenthaler, right? It's no different. A woman's right to have an abortion, right? And we have a right to put whatever we want in our body. And that's what this really boils down to. And the courts will lose on this time and time again. So I think a lot of law was circumvented, a lot of constitutional law was circumvented here by this legislation. And that really upsets me because a lot of patients are going to be carved out of this law. And it's not right. It's just, the cannabis would not be where it is today in the world's eye if it weren't for patients and very important people in this industry. They're the main players, the patients.
Yep.
They created the law to make this mainstream.
Yep,
and now they're getting shit on by the government. And it's just, it's not right.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. I agree with you on so many levels with all that you just said. And I said that from the beginning, and I queried about that, and I worried about it, and I'm still worried about it. Is legalization going to come down the backs of patients? Are patients going to pay the price for these new laws? And as it unfolds, the answer becomes very clearly yes, we will.
Yeah. Yes, and it's absolutely true, all right? So there'll never be a DIN number created for this. There'll never be a DIN number. So you're always going to be stuck having to pay for this upfront, your medicine upfront, and get a tax deduction. And I see that even disappearing. They're already trying to, there's already calls being made, quiet calls they are, but there's already calls being echoed in the chambers that in fact, let's just forget the medical component of this period. And I say, Louis, there's too many challenges. There's too many court challenges in our favor to even think you can get away with that.
Yeah.
But trust me, if they had a way around it, they'd be around it. We're a big, I don't know. I just, you know what? The industry was built on patience, and it just seems like we're getting slapped in the face, and that's kind of ludicrous, I think.
Yeah. No, I agree in many aspects. I agree wholeheartedly with that. But NIMCA, you guys are doing stuff to hopefully make change in that aspect, and patients will finally have a place we can trust to go. We talked about recalls of LP medication that's been gone out to patients. Sometimes these recalls happen and the product was sold a year prior to the recall. That's the great thing with what you guys are doing with on-site testing. We know now what's in your product.
Yeah, so you're absolutely right. It's pretty scandalous what's been happening with the licensed producers. I think there may be 4 class action suits. Correct me if I'm wrong. And so there's huge concern for patients, right? So they should be able to have. Okay, there we get back to Allard, right? The lifeblood that dispensaries are the lifeblood of accessibility. So there you go. So, and here we are. And so I say to people, if you want a wholesome, tested product, come on down to Tyendinaga. There's not only Legacy 420, but there's 30 other shops down here that could probably fulfill your needs. Take the drive down. It's worth it.
Yeah, for sure. Patients need a safe haven. That's for sure. With the stuff that's out there, that we need choices. Now, currently, prior to legalization, there are several dispensaries that operate outside of First Nations. There are many in Toronto. Hamilton area, I think I heard recently, has more dispensaries than Tim Hortons. I heard that in a newscast recently. So, I mean, there are dispensaries flourishing in other parts that are outside of First Nations property. But they don't all have tested product the way that you guys do. But come legalization, many of the ones, at least on the West Coast, have gone into agreement and signed deals where they're going into the legal regime. So they've got to clear their shelves of current product, and they'll only be able to sell LP products. Are you guys looking at trying to fill the void for patients that use these kind of dispensaries and compassion clubs in the West Coast through mail order or anything like that?
That's a good question. So we have people on the West Coast that can already fill that void. So that I have a couple of pretty important meetings coming up. One in Saskatchewan and one in BC, both of them pertaining to what's going on in the industry currently and any vacuums that we might be able to utilize. And we are aware of what's going on in BC. We do have capacity in British Columbia and Manitoba to fill that void. So unfortunately, there are a few other things that we have to do as a board. NIMCA as a board. There's a few important. The Vancouver meeting is really important. It is the AFN National Assembly. So that is where each band council sends their chief, and so all sorts of important things are supposed to happen there. And so we're going to have a delegation on the floor meeting with the chiefs, trying to sway their position and getting them on board to vote to have a motion put on the floor at the FN to ratify NIMCA as the governing, regulating, standardizing board that will overlook cannabis, because this is a constitutional issue, an inherent issue, and the AFN has no business in either one of those. So we're going there. There's going to be a small army of us that will attend this, and we're going to scour out amongst the chiefs and try to convince as many of them as possible to not go along with the FN's deal, which is to go along with the province and let the province regulate. So that would mean just catastrophe for First Nations and cannabis industry that was built here on tyendinaga. So we're not going to let that happen, and not on my watch, anyways. And
excellent.
So we've assembled quite a board on NIMCA now, and so we've got a lot of power players, and we're ready for the challenge.
Awesome. So big things happening coast to coast. So fantastic. You guys have a music festival coming up in Tyendinaga, and we're going to talk about all of that and a few other things that we have missed out on through our conversation so far, but I think I'll save that for after the break.
Cool.
Do we still have Al with us, or did we lose Al?
I think we lost somebody.
I think we lost Al. I hope our producer is still with us, and we're going to take the opportunity to go to break. You're listening to the Pace Radio Show on Lifestyle Radio with Tim Barnhart as our guest tonight. We'll get Al Graham back on the line with us, hopefully during the break. We'll be back in a minute.
So what are you doing? Nothing? Why not? Trying to get on this Lifestyle Radio website. Sounds like a cool website. Yeah, it's alright. Oh, wait, I might have it. You might have it.
You're listening to Lifestyle Radio.
Now I dream of fields just outside my door. I'd share it with my neighbors, 'cause that's what neighbors are for. Roll up a fatty and corn up on the grill, and come on down and spark one with Uncle Bob and Bill. In the green, in the green, in the green, oh Lord, won't you keep me in the green?
Man, have you been to Canadays yet? Canadays, Campbellford's premier cannabis culture shop at 19 Bridge Street West. They've got bongs, oil rigs, grinders, and papers. Everything you need for consumption. They've got seeds, soil, nutrients, and dome trays too. Everything you need for cultivation. Get top quality seeds from top suppliers like Canuck and wholesaler Nexus. Canadays. They've got all kinds of awesome cannabis novelties, clothing, and apparel. I know, right? It's a lot more than just a bong shop. Interested in gaining legal access? Canadays can help. They're a PACE information center. You know, people advocating cannabis education. Come by the shop and check it out. 19 Bridge Street West, Campbellford. Canadays. Have your say without saying a word. Canadays.ca.
Hi, this is Al Graham of the Pace Radio Show. Are you keeping pace, as in keeping people advocating cannabis education? If you're not, and you're a cannabis consumer, then why not? Others are working hard every day to help educate people about cannabis so you can enjoy your daily 420. Get involved and speak out. Be loud and proud so that you can keep pace. Tune into the Pace Radio Show every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to hear about people advocating cannabis education here on lifestyleradio.ca.
In 2017, the Canadian government announced that although recreational cannabis would be federally legal, its distribution and sale would be determined by individual provinces. Later that fall, the province of Ontario announced its proposed legal framework, that a subsidiary of the LCBO be the sole proprietor of cannabis in our province, essentially creating a one-party monopoly. This government-controlled monopoly could result in longer wait times, supply issues, and insufficient experience due to lack of proper consultation with the pre-existing industry. The provincial government believes this framework will restrict access to children and help eliminate the black market, but this proposed action will only push illicit suppliers further underground. Meanwhile, over the past 2 decades, there's been a growing industry of intelligent, savvy, and responsible cannabis entrepreneurs who have been working hard to provide access and education around the medicinal, therapeutic, and recreational uses of cannabis. We are Sensible Ontario. We're not new, but we're excited to meet you. Visit our website now and donate to become a part of Making Sense.
If you'd like to learn more about Sensible Ontario, go to sensibleontario.ca.
Celebrate Indigenous Awakening at Legacy 420's first outdoor music fest, August 11th on the Tyendinaga-Mohawk-Territory. Featuring Headstones, DJ Shub, Murray Porter, and more, with host MC Howie Miller. Opening drum ceremony at 12 noon. Medicinal, food, and Indigenous vendors and artists. Free camping. Tickets $75 at legacy420.com. A 19 and over event. Indigenous Awakening, Saturday, August 11th on Tyendinaga-Mohawk-Territory. Take Highway 401, exit 556.
Sponsored by NIMCA and Legacy 420.
Canada, the time to act is now. These days, your customers are seeking variety. Increase your earning potential by expanding your inventory with CC Nexus, Canada's largest cannabis seed wholesaler. CC Nexus stocks over 60 reputable breeders, including Canuck seeds, with a wealth of autoflower, regular, feminized, and CBD strains. All first-time customers will receive a free pack of Canuck seeds, plus a mug, t-shirt, and additional promotional materials. Add strains and increase your profit with CC Nexus, your Canadian-owned and operated wholesaler of cannabis seeds. Discreet, worldwide stealth shipping from Canada, supporting you locally. Call today, 1-844-843-7995, 1-844-843-7995, or visit us at ccnexus.global.
It's harvest time, it's a plant, not a crime. We've been using it since the start of time. They'd rather you pop a pill than grow it on a sunny hill. And then your lawyer will send you a bill, and you can have the thrill of sharing a cell with a guy who did kill. Hey, what's the catch? All you did was grow a marijuana patch.
In the green.
Hey, we're back, and so am I. Welcome to the Pace Radio Show. We are being broadcasted live on lifestyleradio.net. We're also live at Spreaker. We're live at 420radio.ca, as well as at the Pace Radio Show website, which is at pace-online.ca. Tonight, our bumper music was for British Columbia-based band The Hicks and their song, "Oh Lord, Won't You Keep Me in the Green." That's right. That's what a lot of us want. Patients need to stay in the green. That's right. Keep medicine to them. The band has many cannabis songs, and we play a few of them here, but I recommend that you check them out on YouTube. Today on the show, we have our guest, Tim Barnhart of Legacy 420, and my joint host, Northern Ontario, Kim Cooper. Okay, Kim, we've talked Legacy 420, and we've talked NIMCA. It's time to get into the Music Fest.
Yeah, the Indigenous Awakenings. It's a music fest happening down there in Tyendinaga territory, just outside Legacy 420, isn't it?
It is. Just we've got some property about 1 kilometer from Legacy on the same side of the road. So there'll be signage out there to show you the way, to lead you the way there. So lots of parking available. It's going to be $10 a parking, unfortunately, but it's an opportunity for other landowners to make a few extra dollars during that day. So we opened up to neighbors to get them involved, to rent their fields, and so they have. And so, so the event is on.
Awesome.
$10 to park. You can pay a lot. Nothing. You can pay a lot more at an event in Toronto. So $10.
Yeah, that's for sure. Just Karma Cup alone cost me, $25 to $30 a day for parking times 2 days. So I mean,
Global Marijuana March cost me $40 every time because I get a parking ticket. So
parking ticket. That's right. That's right. So the Music Fest. I mean, you've got the headliners, of course, are the Headstones. Yay! That's going to be amazing. But you've got a pile of musical guests coming.
Yes. So we're pretty excited. This whole event, it's finally coming together. It actually became, we were trying to figure out a way on how to get our people into this industry. So we thought, well, you know what, we should probably have a conference maybe. And then we thought about it, we don't have a room big enough, right, to put the people in that would want to come and learn about cannabis. So we thought, why not have a music festival and why not give out and hand out information while we're there and talk to as many people as we can and infuse both. So a couple of the people in the very early beginnings, formation in NIMCA had a lot of music background, as most Indigenous people do, and so the two were born. Let's marry the two together, and so that's how the Indigenous Awakening began. Was then, and that was a year and a half ago, and now we're, I think 20 some odd, 30 some odd days away, and we're still plugging away at construction. So time's ticking away. Yeah, so it's
it's a huge event, right? I mean, it's going to be enormous.
It is. So the venue is pretty big. We literally had to build a road to get in there. There was actually 2 roadways to get in. One we thought would not be safe enough, so we built a road through the woods to get us to the new venue. So we're pretty excited about it. It's a beautiful piece of land. It's adjacent to a river, so you've got enough room for up to 100 vendors there. We're hoping to have lots of vendors on site. We've got the word out. If there's any vendors out there listening, get a hold of us here at Legacy 420, and we'll hook you up with the details that you need to set up a booth down there.
Excellent. So lots of vendors. It's not just music then. There's going to be vendors alley. You're going to have a conference there, information. Is there going to be speakers at the event as well then?
So no, there won't be any speakers at this event. This is just an event to get everybody all together and to get them talking. And so, NIMCA's going to have a big representation there, and we're hoping a lot of people who want to get into the industry show up. So a lot of people who had doubts about getting into this, come to the concert and learn. Come search me out. Come search one of the other probably hundreds of people who know how to get into this industry. So you'll have candy makers there. You'll have extract makers. You'll have cannabis producers there. So you'll have all that wealth of knowledge in one area. So
so come for the day, enjoy the music, and get some education, find out about this industry in a friendly, casual environment.
Absolutely. And so we've never been good. Our people have never been good at going to conferences in big cities and introducing ourselves. So this is a much more laid back affair. And so we're hoping to reach out to a lot of those people in that who are interested in this. So.
Excellent idea.
Are a lot of the performers people from the indigenous community?
So they are. So that's the second part of this was to showcase a lot of that youth talent out there. So a problem with our youth is that they're finding it very hard to break into this industry, like all youth. So it's not any different from us. So you can imagine it's hard for youth in general what it'd be like for us. So we're trying to give these kids a venue to showcase their talent, and so you'll have to come on down and see what they're like.
For the people who have heard the commercials there, some of the bands, the music is provided within the commercials.
Yep, it is. And some great stuff in that commercial, too. And, of course, we'll be there.
Yes, we'll be there. We'll be there doing live broadcasts and talking to the vendors and the showgoers, talking about the event. So that's going to be a live broadcast right here on Lifestyle Radio. I see as well it's an age majority event.
So it is, and it's also alcohol-free. So we made the choice early on that this event was going to be, cannabis events have always been orderly. They've always been peaceful events, and so we don't want to change the premise of that. So this is a medicine, and our people look at it as medicine, as do most medical patients look at this as a medicine. And so, I think we should all be gathering there out of respect for this medicine and have a very respectful event. And I don't see that take place when you add alcohol to it.
I agree.
I agree. You talked about parking and all that. You got camping?
So we got some camping sites. I think there's 50 to 75 done right now. We built the camping sites this year as well. Waiting to see what we've done down there, Al. Literally, we built a wonderland down there. So.
Next visit, man. Next visit. We're going down there.
Okay, beautiful. So we've managed to keep most of the nature intact.
Good.
So the whole premise of anything that we did, we didn't tamper with no maples, no oak, no pine.
Good.
Just the sucker trees were taken out to build the road. So a lot of your poplar tree we removed, which is basically useless anyways. It's used for strand board. So we removed a lot of those, put the roadway in, and I got to tell you, it looks pretty nice down there. So.
Good. I hardly wait. Yeah. I'll be down soon.
Okay.
Now another thing that you guys just announced recently too, and that was a price change to your admission.
Yeah, absolutely. So right from the beginning, I thought the price was if we want to draw a lot of people and the demographic that we're looking for, that the price should be affordable. And right from the outset, I thought $75 was too much, and so we decided to get it down to where people could afford to buy it, and it's at $50. So, we've decreased it by $25.
Yeah, there you go. So a third off.
A third off. I mean, that's a good deal. All of those musicians, a wonderful music fest with vendor alley available and $10 for parking. I mean, that sounds like a hell of a day to me.
You're looking at 15 bands? About 15 bands?
Yeah.
And then there's food vendors too there as well. So, so there'd be probably native tacos. You'll have your average, your usual players in there. Yeah,
Bannock.
So, yes, absolutely. You know what I'd like to see? Hopefully, we see soon is somebody catering to just normal cuisine, infused cuisine. So today we had Chinese food at Legacy 420, and it was all infused. And I got to tell you, it was a very delightful lunch for sure. So Yeah, I'd like to
Excellent. Oh, I would love to see that.
I've never thought about
Deal. That would be great.
Infused Chinese food. Yeah, I never even thought about that.
Yeah, we infuse everything now. Pizza, pretty much anything is infusible, and so we've been doing it all. Everything is pretty much whatever you want. We can tailor to your needs. Yeah.
Good.
Excellent.
Now, as far as anybody looking for some more information on the Music Fest, legacy420.com, is that where they would go?
Yes, they can find a link there. Yes, they can. And on Facebook as well. All medium, actually. I think we're covered on all medium. All social media.
Yeah, and the name of the site for the actual event is Indigenous Awakenings Music Fest.
That's it, my dear.
Yeah.
And it is an Indigenous awakening. This whole Cannabis Act has exactly that. It has awakened us. And so I think a festival like this is long overdue. So I can't wait for that day, August 11th. Come on down and join us at Indigenous Awakening.
So you heard I'm Tyendinaga-territory, just outside Belleville off the 401 there, people. So I'm very accessible. That's for sure.
Yeah, where can people get tickets?
Ticketmaster currently are at the gate.
Okay, so you can pick them up right at the gate that day.
Yeah, you will be able to. Yeah,
that's good.
Yeah, so
excellent. Well, I am very much looking forward to going now that I know I'm going. It's fantastic news. I can't wait. It sounds like it's going to be just fantastic. I'm looking forward to Bender Alley for sure.
Anybody looking to be a vendor, they go to the legacy420.com website as well?
Yuppers, and the contact information is there. And so, a call out to vendors, reach out to us, and we'd love to have you down. So, and I mean, we're from the States. I don't care where you're from. We're on a sovereign nation, and so come on down. So.
There you go. And make a weekend of it. You come the night before, set up your stuff. Then there's the daily event. Chill out the night after the event is over, and you're off and running the next day. I mean, it's a fabulous weekend, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, yeah, exactly. And you're not far from the highway. You're really close to the highway. And
we're actually 2 kilometers from the 401. So
easy access.
Yes, exactly. So perfect. We're smack dab in the center of Toronto and Ottawa. So we're, I think, a 2.5 hour drive from each spot. So come on down if you're in the city. It's well worth the drive. You can spend the day visiting the vendors or listening to music and learning about cannabis and native music. Young musicians.
What time does it all get started at?
It gets started at noon.
Starts at noon?
So, yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay, so gates open at 9, and then the event starts rolling at noon.
I think so. Kim, you got the poster right in front of you?
I just did a second ago.
I'm looking at. I don't
want to give out the wrong time here.
I'm looking at the poster. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm on your website. I'm looking at the poster.
Yeah, it opens at 9. It opens up at 9, and your first act goes on at noon.
I know the answer to the question, but I got to get you to answer it so we can tell listeners.
Too funny. Yeah, no, it sounds like an off-the-hook festival, like, for sure. And so many great acts. And I mean, the Headstones, I haven't seen them in years.
I can't wait myself.
Oh.
And it's Kelly's birthday, by the way, too. So.
Oh, cool.
Oh, really?
Oh, that'll make the party even better. Now there's a reason, right?
Yeah. We can see a birthday cake being handed out up on the stage. Big massive crowd, happy birthday going on.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome for sure.
I can't lose sight of that day. So I'm gonna be really busy, but I can't lose sight of that. So
that's right. I know what you mean.
There's enough people around you to keep you reminded.
Yeah, right. Perfect.
Right on, right on. Oh, it's going to be just so fantastic. So many great musicians in the Native communities that are going to be participating, and so many various styles of music are being incorporated, and that's what I love. It's not just one genre. No matter what you like, something will be playing that will pique your interest.
Right. So and that came to be like we created a team really to go out and get these people, and Kevin Saganash, I got to throw and Kathy Kelly, Miracle, and DC. Lots of kudos because they've been busy working, lining up these acts and diligently working for the last year, trying to make this all happen. So KK and the three of them, I'm telling you, they've worked miracles on this and been able to pull it all together. So I don't think I could have did it without them. So So
it takes a team to pull something this large off. Like you got Kelly and Jordan.
Yeah. So it's big and it's I had no idea, right? So I thought, well, you know what, we'll have a concert and let's put it together and then Kelly came along and then next thing I know, this crazy we have to do this, we have to do that. Like, she was so organized, things that I didn't think about because I'm ADD and I just see one way and it's straight ahead.
Yeah. But there's all the technical stuff.
Right? Yeah, well, you gotta do this, you gotta do that, you gotta do this, and so here we are. Finally, we're there, and it's coming, and so I'm excited. Yeah, for sure.
Awesome. Fantastic. Thank God for Kelly. They're making your lists and yelling in your back ear to get everything organized because it's a big job and it sounds like it's going to be just simply great.
Yeah, that's what we're hoping. Yeah, it's you know what? It's the first one. Once we get the first one under our belt, I'm sure it'll be smooth sailing. If this one's a success, we hope to redo this, in next year. So it'll be an ongoing thing. It'll be an opportunity to showcase young Native talent who are looking to get into the music industry. A showcase too for Native growers, Native cultivators, Native producers, and people who are just want to get into the industry, right? So there has to be a melting pot, right? And there has to be that melting pot has to be conducive to energy, and there's nothing like that with music and cannabis together. So
that's right.
Very conducive to positive things.
Sure, it's a great mix. It always is. You're relaxed, you're having a good time, you're socializing, and you're getting an education while you're there and finding out how you can advance your own community. I hope I see many from various communities across Canada, across Ontario for sure, coming out to find out how they can become involved and become more involved in NIMCA in territories across the regions throughout Ontario.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, it'd be a great opportunity for you to educate people who, don't normally go to the reserve, don't know anything about NIMCA and legacy, and this will give you an opportunity to educate people about that, and maybe help NIMCA even get larger.
Yep. Come and learn. Learn. Curious, come and find out, and we'll see you all there.
Oh, for sure.
Absolutely.
Yes. So, Tim, is there anything that we should touch on that we haven't touched on about the Music Fest and legacy that you want to?
Just that that we're here and on Tyendinaga, 346 York Road, and that we're just running a very tight ship and with a very high quality tested product, and you need to come down and try it out. But no, I think we pretty much covered the position, that NIMCA, and I think we covered the concert pretty well. other than I hope to see everybody down there, as many people. We've been making a statement. The more people that show up, the bigger the statement we make. So we've got a sovereignty position here, and the more people that show up solidify that sovereignty. So,
That's right.
There's power in numbers. So
That's right.
A lot of our First Nations people show up from around Ontario and Canada as well as the U.S. So,
yeah, it'd be interesting because I don't know what's the closest U.S. crossing? Is it Gananoque?
Thousand Islands, yeah.
Thousand Islands, yeah.
But you know what? We got a lot of U.S. visitors now. We're advertising in the U.S. now. So we are getting a lot of visitors up through social media as well. We've got a lot of contacts down to the U.S. now. So we have people coming up in Colorado all the time,
awesome.
As well as a lot of other states that are legal. Yeah, so they're literally, when they get there to Legacy, they're blown away by what we did there. So even guys who've been in this business, 6, 7, 8 years come into our business, and they're just blown away. They can't believe we have it all under one roof.
Yeah. Well, everybody is blown away that goes in there. I mean, the evolution, I've watched it grow over the years, and the evolution has been tremendous. Every time I go in there, I'm blown away once again with the changes that you're making.
Yeah.
I mean, it's getting bigger and better, and it's always, forward thinking and so advanced.
Yes, and that's just it, right? So you have to be that forward thinker, and you got to really stay one step ahead of the industry, and so you have to have the talented people in place, and we do to make sure that you get there, and so I think we built that team, and we've built that store, and we've built a model, right? That we can say, a pilot model that you can say, okay, come and see what we've created. We can mimic this across Canada. So that's the call out to other First Nations, is this: come and see what we've done here on Tyendinaga. We've built the model. Come and see what we've done and mimic it on your nation. So
it works.
I hope a lot of people. Yes, it does work.
Yeah. You're not selling that an old tobacco building, old tobacco shack.
No. So in that building alone, Al, there's $5.5 million invested in that building. There's $9 million in that property alone.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Investment, significant.
Yeah, and you're still spending.
And we're still spending, So we've got 4 properties total. So, and we're under developing on all 4 of them. So we've had a construction company, excavators, working pretty much nonstop for a solid year now. So
and this is employing people. I mean, this is employing people. You're creating business. You're getting jobs. You're putting money into the community, and you're bettering your community by building there.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that. That's from a business perspective and from a medicinal perspective. That's my feeling, and a lot of other people's feelings, or you wouldn't see as many dispensaries opening up as you do. So the high number of users on Tyendinaga is very much like Six Nations and all the other First Nations, very high. So I think we probably got a 60 to 80% use rate here on Tyendinaga. So a lot of our families do this, and they do this at home in their own privacy, and they don't let their neighbors know they're doing it, but they're doing it. And so the silent majority is your user on Tyendinaga. And so so our time has come, and not only our time, but right straight across Canada, our First Nations people's time has come, and to start using this plant again for what it was intended for, and that's for medical reasons.
Yep, absolutely. Awesome.
All right, Tim, shout out time.
Yeah.
Got a person or two you want to thank or highlight, or a website? Or I can, if you don't share on the website, I've got it right here in front of me. So.
Okay, you can share it for me, brother.
Okay, legacy420.com or legacy420.net. We'll bring you to the same place.
Yeah.
Get all the information on Legacy 420 there, as well as the Music Fest.
Perfect.
Excellent.
All right. Kim.
Yes, I have a shout out tonight. I do. I'm going to give a shout out to THC, the Timmins Hemp Community. We are a band of volunteers here in Timmins that are pushing the education by having a summer music educational music awareness campaign, summer educational motivational awareness campaign. And we are having our July event next week, July 19th at the Matagami River boat launch. We will gather for a summer movie night in the park.
Nice.
We will have a feature presentation as well as several short films on the endocannabinoid system and various medicinal uses for cannabis to further the education for those in the Timmins and surrounding area. This is a free event that is sponsored in full by our gold sponsors, Mr. Tim Barnhart and Legacy 420, as well as NIMCA. They have generously donated to this event so we can purchase a projector to show our movies at this event, and we will also be handing out educational materials as well as party favors.
Oh, way to go. Way to go. One suggestion, I don't know if you got your movies picked out already, Kim, but short documentary, 45 minutes long. What if cannabis cured cancer?
There you go. I will look it up, and we will look at possibly adding it to our list. However, it is quite full already, but we may have a second event in the future.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. You might find it's something you just can't turn down.
That's right.
Okay, now also before we go, we've got a little bit of an announcement to make. We did one Monday for the Reef Reporters, and this is a different one for today. Do you remember what it is?
I don't. I'm not allowed.
You don't. Well, next week, our show is canceled. We don't have a Pace Radio show next week, and that is because our producer will be heading to the East Coast. Al has offered to, still try to do the show. He's on the road, and I said, no. You enjoy your drive. Yep. He's heading down there to cover Harvest Fest, which is organized by MUM, which is Maritimers United for Medical Marijuana. And they're having the big Harvest Fest down there. And the network here on Lifestyle Radio, we will be broadcasting live from there on Saturday, which is the 21st. So tune in so you can say hi and hear what everybody in Nova Scotia is saying.
Yeah, I'll be tuning in for sure, and I'll be joining the conversation on the air and talking to our former and hopefully soon to be back to regular joint host, Debbie Stultz-Giffen, here on the Pace Radio Show. She will be hosting there at Harvest Fest as well as some other people. So it'll be great to join everybody live on the air from down east.
Yes, it will be. Okay, all right. Speed things up here. You can find Pace at Twitter. On Twitter at Pace Radio. We're on Facebook. We're on the web, pace-online.ca. Thank yous go to the friendly and helpful folks at CC Nexus, Canada's largest cannabis seed wholesaler. They're at ccnexus.global. Al Rapp of Lifestyle Radio, the man with the Shatterizer in one hand and the baggie in the other. Also, Tim, thank you very much for coming on the program and talking to us about Legacy 420. We know you're busy, so it's great that you could give us some of your time tonight.
For sure.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And I will be down to see you soon, too, by the way. So,
okay.
All right. Put the warning out. Maybe I'll get to meet Jordan this time.
Yeah, you should.
Yeah, he was so busy last time. He was out handing out information flyers on the Music Fest.
Perfect.
When I was down there. Okay, and thank you, Kim, for everything you do for the program.
My pleasure as always. I love being here.
And thank you to our listeners. Thank you for tuning into the program. And good night.
Good night.
So what are you doing? Nothing? Why not? Trying to get on this Lifestyle Radio website. Sounds like a cool website. Yeah, it's alright. Oh, I might have it. You might have it.
You're listening to Lifestyle Radio.
The opinions expressed during this show are those of the individual participants and do not necessarily reflect the opinions of their associated organizations or Lifestyle Radio.